Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning, coming to you from the International Diamond Center Studios. Fine jewelry, watches, and much more. Family owned and operated with the largest selection of natural diamond jewelry. We're going to have Buddy Martin today. We're also going to have JC. He wants to chime in. I guess we'll just talk about the Masters today.
Sure.
But guys, we are the national champs. What a game, what a game, what a game. I don't know what to say. This team impresses me every time they play basketball. You know, when things don't go well, they find ways to win games. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. And we're joined by Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Shane, and you're right. It is kind of hard to comprehend. Everything happened so fast and so crazy last night. Just keeping up was a major job. And then the way the game ended. I mean, there was a point there late in the game where they said Florida had led about only 17 seconds of the game. And as we said before, we said on your show, my show, the script has always been get it down to the last 2 minutes or 4 minutes and let Walter do it and let the Gators take over. And by the way, the amazing thing about it was that Florida did to Houston what Houston did to Auburn, how they went to a brawl and they matched them punch for punch, got down to the end. And of all things, it was not the Houston Cougars diving for the ball on the floor that won the game, as they bragged about all last week. They practiced it, practiced it. It was the Florida Gators and Kondo doing it. And it was not Walter Clayton putting up the big three-point shot, but in fact, defending the three-point shot and getting the ball at the end. And what a finish. Gators won at 65-63. I don't know if I have enough words left to talk about it, but it was an amazing night. And today, Shane, I'm wearing my Gator hat because first and foremost today, I'm a Florida Gator. I'm glad to be. And I'm not a bandwagon jumper. You're not. You called us a long time ago and been trying to tell people now for a long time, get on the bandwagon, folks. You're behind. The national media has not caught up. Maybe now, today, they look at the score, and this is 65-63 Florida Gators, national champions. They'll get the ranking and the attention they deserve because they sure didn't get it from the national media. Congratulations to the Gators. Congratulations to Scott Strickland for sticking with his coach at a time it was hard. Those Title IX lawsuits are brutal to get out of. He stuck by him. Look what happened. It was an amazing year, an amazing finish, and an amazing team.
Yeah, for sure. Our contest winner needs to contact the program. The little handle is Gator_Nation 08. So if you're Gator_Nation 08, contact the program. We'll get you your prize pack. Congratulations to Houston. I thought Houston's game plan and execution was phenomenal. They basically said, we're not going to let the guards beat us. The big guys are going to have to make plays down low. But they're a physical, boy, they play good defense. It's hard to believe an undersized team that gets after you. But Gators found a way, and just a phenomenal run throughout the tournament. Some exciting, a lot of people here on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says this basketball tournament has taken years off their life. Yes, I agree with that 100%. But it's boy, it's been a phenomenal year. I still think it's the best team I've ever seen. I think they're better than the two national championship teams. They're just so athletic and can do so many. They can beat you in so many ways, and they found a way. So, congratulations to them. We can talk about that obviously for quite some time.
Doesn't matter who the best team is. We're both national champions, and certainly I don't even know if you can compare them. But I know this. I know there's only one school that's won 3 national championships in football and 3 in basketball. And it's the
Yeah. You know what's crazy is us and UConn have won more national championships in basketball in the last 25 years than any other school. Think about that, buddy.
amazing. That's amazing.
So maybe we are blue blood in basketball.
Could be, yeah. There were so many moments in that game last night, and the ball game could have gone either way. But the sheer will of Florida, like I said, driving for that ball and getting it, and the defensive play by Walter. And then with 46-5 left to play, the Gators were up by one. They didn't lead by like 2 seconds, And the ball bounced off of Sharp's leg. What a play. I wrote down my notes, Walter time. And then there we go. And at the end, it was Walter defending that made the big play. And there was so many, you could come up with about 10 plays that were amazing. And it was just an incredible team effort. Again, beating the Houston Cougars the way the Houston Cougars beat other people. They can, like someone said, Randy Briggs said last night, wrote me, he says, I'm tired of hearing how tough the Houston Cougars are. The Florida Gators are pretty tough too. They can take a bunch, and they did again.
Yeah, we were very physical last night for a majority of the game. The kid that the shark kid that was going to shoot the final shot for them, he's from Tampa. So yeah, he's a Tampa kid. A couple of texts on the Titan MR text line. Or I got a bunch of texts. I'm just gonna pick and choose a few here and there if they pop up. We're waiting on them here.
By the way, can you believe that Walter Clayton's, what kind of odds could you gotten on this? First bucket came with 8 minutes to play in the game. The first bucket of this guy who is dominated, by the way, most what's he called, MOP, whatever it is.
Most outstanding player.
Yeah. Yeah. Eight,
Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, what specifically did you see in December that made you think this was a national championship team? I just thought their athleticism. I thought the three guards were phenomenal early on. And then you got guys that are really athletic down low that can handle the basketball. I went out on a limb and said that. So I don't know. I just thought they were great. This text on
and
the
then you
text,
stuck with that even with the ugly Georgia loss.
I didn't give a damn. But I mean, buddy, you're going to lose games in basketball. I look at the body
You're right.
body
It
of
was just
work.
spirit. You're right. You were right. You called it. I didn't get there till January. I was really late January. I thought this team's got it all. Shane's right, and they could become national champions, and they also may have the best player in the history of Florida's basketball program. And
Yeah.
both those things came true, Shane.
Yeah. Eric from Tampa says on the Titan More text line, greatest basketball team with the greatest basketball player in UF history. Clayton Jr. should get a statue at UF facing the three Heisman statues. Wouldn't that be some on the other side of the road?
I propose that they take Noah and Billy and take Clayton and make it over by the College Center.
Well, they got to find somebody to pay for those statues. That's the thing.
They'll find somebody to pay for that
Well,
statue. Yeah.
Tebow's dad's friend paid for the other statues. So
Really? Okay.
yeah. This says, morning, Shane. Greetings from the Panhandle. Have you ever seen four more vicious or intense battles than the 4 games we just went through to win the night? No, boy, we showed a lot of guts finding ways to win those games. Chris from Mayaca says, what a game. National champs again. If you told me before the game that Clayton and Martin would go 5 for 20 in the game, I would have bet the house on Houston. Houston dictated the game, but Florida, as usual, found a way to win. Great team this year. You were right. Best Florida basketball team in school history. I don't know if they are or not. I just, in my eyes, tell me they are. So,
Well, I'll go you one more. Let's say you could talk about this forever. Like you say, we'll have plenty of time for it. But when you talk about the 6 national championships, you think what was the Hope Diamond of the bunch? Speaking of the Diamond Center, Hope Diamond, what was the one? I mean, you'll never be able to judge it. It's all opinion. I mean, certainly the national championship of football was such a huge deal because that was the first one. But this one would be right up there. I mean, the way they won that game, the excitement, the venue, being in a tournament with 4 1 seeds going at you, all the chalk, they had to go up against the best teams, and they came back from big deficits. And the numbers and the names that you saw next to Walter Clayton's for their scoring in the Elite Eight and scoring in the Final Four. We're up there. You talk about Larry Bird and all these great players. This is a monumental national championship, not just a great one.
Ted says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, they were undefeated out of the conference. I didn't think about that, but you're right. They went undefeated. All the losses came within the conference. We got our winner here. He takes the program. Russell Stafford is your winner. We'll get your stuff sent to you, Russell. He's from Westville, Florida, wherever that is. I don't even know where that is.
Florida, Westville, Florida.
Yeah. Um, Jeff on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, said, I suppose the Strickland naysayers are having crow for breakfast this morning. Remember after Golden's first year and how many fans thought it was a terrible hire. Same with Napier. Look, Todd can coach, man. I'm not worried about next year. You're losing some really good basketball players. He's losing his top two assistants to go take head coaching jobs. So will it be a rebuild? Probably. But he's going to get players that want to come play in his style of system. So let's not worry about next year. Let's enjoy the moment.
I agree with that. And I really got kind of angry yesterday at my buddies, Rob, talking about, well, here's what's wrong with basketball. They got the NIL deal, and this is wrong. I said, guys, shut up. Let's just think about this. It's like when people say in politics, look last year how you were at April the 15th. How are you this year? Which is better? And it's like, look where you are now under this system. Take what you got when you got it, enjoy it. Worry about tomorrow. And I think that's what people missed out on. All those people whining and complaining, I don't like this, they're paying the players. It's what it is. They took the rules, they played by the rules, they recruited by the rules, they followed the rules, and they won under the system that they had. Look, the first national championship in football, they had to kind of backdoor it in the BCS to get that natty, because that's the system they had, but they won it. This is amazing because they took the rules that they had, the players they had. Todd Golden handpicked these guys, coached them up, and had them. By the way, that defensive play that Walter Clayton made on the three-pointer at the end of the game, they practiced that. It's difficult, if not almost impossible, to get that shot, defend that shot, and not foul the shooter, which you cannot do. They didn't foul the shooter because they practiced it. Walter Clayton said, we practiced it all the time, defending the three without fouling. And that would have been crucial if they fouled there. So all those little things that happened, they didn't happen by accident, Shane.
No, I mean it was phenomenal. I'm very happy for those kids, for the coaching staff. What a year. Ruse Ogre State Farm, also a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We got Buddy Martin here talking about the game last night. Your Gators are national champs. JC's actually going to join us at 8:30. He wants to chime in. All our people are out sleeping. Probably haven't even slept yet. But Kanye Ron says Walter sure did sky high to impact that last shot. Walter played some good defense last night on multiple occasions. And
guys, I agree. I want to just say a word about Franz, if you get a minute, when we do, because he's been waiting on this for a long time. And even Horford said, well, it's not, it sort of also validated, it puts Florida basketball back at the top because they had the two wins. People say, oh, that was a fluke. Well, it's not a fluke. And I will say that Franz is waiting a lot. He's Mr. Gator basketball around here. He's done some tremendous work out in San Antonio. And he wrote last night, Condon didn't hit a buzzer beater shot or make a free throw, but rather dived on the floor, stretching his 6'11" frame as far as it would go to secure a loose ball. They flipped to Walter Clayton Jr. as the clock flatlined at 0-0-0. That's beautiful writing right there. And that's how it was. I mean, that's how it came about. I could never have seen that in a million years. But isn't it appropriate that the guy who's a baller, always hustling and always going sticking his nose in a condo, would out battle Houston for the ball, and something they do, and then that the guy who's been the star, who had an off game, would wind up with the ball in his hands at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was good stuff for sure. Matt says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Clayton, Richard, and Martin need to file Pavia's appeal for another year of eligibility, return and go back to back. They're long gone.
They're going to get paid.
Yeah. Shooter McGavin says, I love that Walter Clayton's first thought was he wants to see his mama.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Yeah.
Uh,
Good
they
deals
asked
for sure.
about that dive. He said it was totally instinctive. He said the ball's on the floor, only one thing to do,
Well,
dive.
go ahead.
I said, they asked him about that loose ball. Kind of, he said the ball's on the floor. There's only one thing to do, dive for it. I got my hands on it, and Walt was there. Next thing I know, the horn is blowing.
Yeah. I mean, that was a good play, no doubt about it, but there was no time. Houston wasn't going to be able to pick that ball up and get a shot off.
Why? Because of Walter Clayton's defensive play. That's
Right,
why.
but I'm talking once the ball was on the ground, the game was over. Andy's question for you, buddy, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. So, what's going through the minds of Billy and the football team when they see basketball success?
I think there's a little juice both ways. I think he sent a message to Billy sort of last night, not just Billy, everybody. He said, "Stay hot, Gator boys." That was a team. That's what Walter Clayton said. Stay hot, Gator boys. And I think that message could be used as a motivation for his football team, who, by the way, is pretty good. Here's the other message: you don't have to have a bunch of 5 stars to win a natty. We know that now. So people complaining because Florida hasn't signed a whole bunch of 5 stars. Guess what? You don't have to have them to win a natty.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Not at all. Somebody asked about a championship celebration. It will be today at Flyvet Field around 2 or
1:30.
3 whenever they arrive back. Hopefully it doesn't rain.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right,
Shane,
buddy.
what stands out in your mind? Excuse me, I want to say, what play or moment stands out in your mind besides the last one in that game? Was there one play, one player, or one thought that you had about that whole game?
No, there was so many different swings in that game. I mean, we got down. Uh, I don't think there's one play that stands out. They did such a phenomenal job on Walter and other guards. Will Richard got open for a couple of shots there in the first
Not
half.
ever.
But their perimeter defense was just phenomenal. It was Texas Tech was outstanding, but they took it to another level. They were going to force us. I mean, Walter had 7 or 8 assists
He
in
did.
the paint. It's because of the way they were playing. They were
Right.
just like, look, we have no problem if you can score in the paint against our bigs, go for it. We couldn't, I mean, they blocked a ton of our shots in there. They were more athletic at the bigs than we were, but they were not going to allow our guards to get going shooting the
Right.
basket. They
That's
were
right.
not.
But you know what? In a great team, it's like when you have those good receivers, you might stop one of them, but you ain't going to stop them all. Somebody's going to be open. And when you have a team, it's once said that if you don't care who gets the credit, great things are possible. Honestly, I don't think this team who cared who got the credit. Richard didn't score a game and then came back and scored 20 the next night. They don't care. That's what makes this team so great. And it is a TEAM team that we lose sight of. Doesn't matter who's getting paid. If you haven't got a team, it doesn't matter. And they got a team, and that's Todd Golden's and the players and the leadership of those 3 senior guards. You're right. They're going to be hard to replace.
Daniel says on Facebook Live, I know for sure Billy was out there in San Antonio watching. Yeah, Billy. So the UAA had a plane go out. Like Tim Walton was there, and his family. So a lot of I know Billy was there with his 2 boys, Billy Napier. So a lot of the UAA people were out there, for sure. We got a text here from good friend Tom. He says, how ironic. Todd Golden is the youngest coach to win the national championship since Jim Valvano in 1983. The team that Jimmy V and the NC State Wolfpack beat, the Houston Cougars in Phi Slamma Jam. How
Yeah,
about that?
I was at that game. That was amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. That was
And
amazing.
then if people haven't seen it, it's all over Twitter. You know, I've been to 2 Final Fours the back-to-back years. I think it was Indianapolis and Atlanta. I've been to San Antonio. I haven't been for a Final Four, but San Antonio to me might be the best venue for Final Fours because of the Riverwalk.
It's great.
Uh, you know, if you didn't see it late in the morning, like 1 a.m., they did the riverboat parade
That was awesome.
with the Gator basketball team. The Gator coaching staff had their own boat.
Man,
Cheerleaders had their own boat.
yeah.
The band had their own boat. So yes, that was very cool, no doubt about it. Yeah, so I think, like I said, I haven't been to all the sites for the Final Four, but seems like there's a little bit more to do in some of the other places.
I've been to about 6 or 7 of them, different places, and I would agree with you. San No, that's not what the story said. The story
Yeah, it's
said,
not, I think they're the same age.
well, yeah. I mean, he might. I mean, the whole all the story said the youngest since Valvano. Now I don't know. I don't know the. He says what? Valvano was 36.
Yeah, I don't think he was that young.
Well, we can research that. Andy,
Yeah,
get
we
on.
can research. I could have sworn they put both Todd and Jim Valvano on the screen during the basketball game, and they were the same age, but I could be wrong.
The youngest since him. I don't know. I'm not good at numbers. Well, one of your great marauders out there, the stats team that you got going, will figure that one out. Meanwhile, we're going to relish this one for a long time. We got a whole year to talk about it, Shane.
Yep. Daryl said on the Titan More text line, I sent some texts up to my family on Tobacco Road about the Gators and the SEC. I got no response. You know, they think they invented basketball. Yeah. You know, I said this, but Billy, years ago, I said what Billy Donovan did, just winning one national championship at Florida was probably the greatest accomplishment because when you think of the University of Florida, you do not think of basketball, right? You think of football, baseball, spring sports.
Used
And
to be that.
I was
You,
like, I don't know if that will ever happen again. Well, I'll be damn, here we are, and we've done it again.
I had a great friend, one of my very best friends, now no longer with us, Augie Ground. Many of you know who he was. He was a marginal player his last 2 years at Florida, but he did more for Florida basketball under Sloan, under all of them, including Billy. Billy loved him. Every year he raised money. He was Mr. Gator basketball, and he would today he'd be smiling down from heaven that his Gators won another national championship. I'm happy for people like that, even though he's not with us anymore. I'm happy for friends. I'm happy for Todd Golden. I'm happy for Walter. I'm happy for Scott Strickland. And by the way, it is great to be a Florida Gator.
Yeah, Chris from Mayaca on the Titan Mar text line said he put a $20 bet on January 1st that Florida would win the Natty, paid 420 bucks last night. He says Valvano was 37, Golden 39, but Golden's the youngest coach since going to a 64 team field.
Okay, well, disastrous.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's get to this day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 2019 men's basketball championship. Virginia beats Texas Tech 85-77 in overtime. The Cavaliers' first ever national title. DeAndre Hunter was your most outstanding player with 27 points. That's this day in sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union.
Don't remember that one.
You don't remember that one? That
No.
was Virginia. Virginia,
What
they
year was
had
it?
some guards that could knock down some shots.
What year was it?
2019.
Oh, so I was someplace else that year. Yeah. I would say this, and I've covered a lot of stories of Florida in my 50 plus years, that my favorite being the national championship year under Spurrier. But this right now, in terms of a story and an accomplishment, is one of my top 5 of all time. And I didn't just cover Florida all my life. I covered teams in New York and in Denver, and this was such an enjoyable thing to follow this team. They brought joy back to the sport and brought joy to college sports at a time when we really needed it, and we needed the game to matter again. And I don't know if we'll have a more joyous Final Four national championship than what they had. These Gator boys, they stayed hot. They got the job done.
Yeah, Kevin asked on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. The second half, the Gators appeared to focus to get Houston in foul trouble. In a short amount of time, the foul disadvantage switched from Florida to Houston. Houston's play changed their thoughts. Look, there were 4 total fouls called in the first half
Wow.
between both teams.
Yeah.
4.
And I
There
saw
were there were there were 13 called in the first 5 minutes of the second half, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're right.
It was ridiculous. When you play in a sporting event like that, it's just like pitching. First couple of innings, you fill out the strike zone of the home plate guy, right? Umpire. Well, okay, they were going to let them play. Well, I'll be damned. I don't know if they got a call from the NCAA at halftime when they were in there eating a hot dog and said, you guys need to call some fouls because it was ridiculous how many fouls were called. I mean, Houston went into the bonus with like 14 minutes left in the game. It was not good.
Even
I
the
thought,
announcers talk about it. Hey, Shane, see this right here? You know what that
yeah,
is?
Empire State Building. That's for the New York
What
Knicks.
what are the colors there, Shane?
It's orange and blue, but it's for the
Yeah.
Knicks.
It's not blue and orange. Okay, just so you know. Somebody posted said, "Look, the Empire State Building is blue and orange." No, we don't do blue and orange, and we don't do left over right.
Yeah, I think it's orange and blue. They keep it like that when the Knicks are playing.
I understand, but the people said how great it was to make it blue and orange. That's not how you say it any more than you say Georgia, Florida.
Yeah.
But
Mark says Mike is a great presence around the boards and would make a great tight end for Napier. No,
who?
no. Hand Lockton could not play tight end.
They
at all.
folded. They hit him and knock him in half first play.
Yeah, he's not athletic enough to be a tight end. So, all right, buddy. Well, what do you got going on the rest of the
Well,
day?
we're going to carry a little bit of this show tonight on our program, but I'm not supposed to be on tonight. But because Lauren's traveling, I have to do that show tonight.
Just
We'll
take
have
the day off, buddy.
Don't have a day off, Shane. There ain't no days off in my job. But today it's great being a Florida Gator, and I look forward to it. We'll be taking your calls tonight, taking your comments. Participate tonight the way you did here on Shane's show. And thank you, Shane, for having me on. It was wonderful to share this with you. And it feels really good to win a national championship.
Yeah. There's no question about that. Zach says on YouTube, brought to you by Quiet Place. Shane, we will never know if Emmanuel Sharp's shot would have made the game-winning 3. Thank goodness. Could you imagine if he would have got the ball the shot would have been blocked by Walter. But if you could just see that ball going through the air, slow motion. But it was like a logo 3. I mean, he was way out. So,
But it was nerve-wracking, Shane. I'm telling you the truth. There was a nerve-wracking tournament. I don't know about you. Your pulse never changes. But for us normal people who are not whatever you are because you're not human, it's a heart pounder, man. I'm telling you, it was difficult. Check out Gator Bait there. Be sure and check out our stories all week long. It's going to be a fun off season. Next up, Shane, football. Back to football.
spring game Saturday, buddy. Are you excited?
I'm excited to get back to football now. It's going to be more fun. Are you? You don't like spring games, I know.
No, I do not. But be a lot of happy Gators on campus. I will say that.
What did Coach say? It's a bunch of happy Gators out there. Yeah, so he's happy today too. So Shane, thanks for having me on. It's been a great basketball year. We'll talk at you here soon and enjoy the off season. There is no off season.
Yeah, buddy, good stuff. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good week. That's Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. We're going to take a quick time out. We come back. I think JC's going to join the program. Let him hoop and holler a little bit. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Signs, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG and A, Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
National Diamond Center Studios. When Urban Meyer wanted to introduce his high-quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC and his team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorn's Liquors. Go beyond with smooth Los Linderos tequila. Back to the Tight Door Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. JC, did you have any tequila last night? Did you have any Los Linderos tequila?
I had some the other night in Mississippi, and I can tell you in San Antonio the tequila was flowing. The orange and blue tequila was flowing for the Gators team. Man, this is great. This is, QB, this is exactly I think the fan base needed here in Gainesville. This was something that I think came somewhat of a surprise, but then as it became very clear how good this team was and the way they won games, man, I guess it really just caught on. And the Gator Nation last night and in San Antonio, I was getting texts and pictures all day long. QB, they represented their team and their school as well as I've seen for basketball ever. And maybe you could make some comparisons to the football trips that Gator fans have taken. What a great turnout for the Gator fans. They were loud. They were noisy. They were shown. That's exactly how I would have been if I was there, QB. I'm sure you would have joined in with us. But, I tell you, QB, this game, it's just like every other game they played in this tournament, man. Comeback wins, dramatic plays. Clayton was Clayton when he had to be Clayton. But honestly, Clayton was not Florida's only closer in this game, QB. Because even though UConn and Texas Tech fell victim to the Walter Clayton show, as we saw, the deficit was 11 points when Walter Clayton was subbed out at the 14-minute mark of the second half. And that's when Aberdeen, that's when Martin, and that's when Thomas Hawk went to work. They cut the deficit to 3. The teams went back and forth the rest of the way. And Houston was basically up by 1 with the final 2 minutes to go in the game. And then what happens? The supporting cast, the rest of the guys come up, delivered once again. Will Richard, his defense produced a steal and a block. Alex Condon registered 3 steals in the final 2 minutes. I watched it over and over again. And Martin Aberdeen supplied the free throws that won the game. Walter, will go down as the best ever at Florida. But my God, this team had some other guys who had just as much a part of them winning this national championship as anyone else. And, the free throws when they had to have them, the defense with 20 seconds left when they had to have it was just tremendous. They locked up Houston. They did to Houston what Houston does to other teams. And right now, Florida's only one of 4 teams to come back from behind at half to win in the semifinals, in the finals. The other 3 are Duke, Louisville, and Kentucky. So Gators are in that class of blue bloods, QB. Duke, Louisville, and Kentucky. And now the Gators can say, hey, you know what?
What is Louisville? What did you just say about Duke, Louisville, and Kentucky? What about them?
The Florida Gators are only one of 4 teams in the big dance to have come back from behind at halftime and win the game in both the semifinal and the final. And that's exactly what happened.
What's more important to me when you talk about blue bloods, you know who's won more national titles in basketball in the last 25 years, JC?
It's UConn and Florida.
Correct.
Yeah.
I
Because
didn't hear Duke. I didn't hear North Carolina.
No, the Gators have won it 3
I didn't hear UCLA and John Wooden.
One other takeaway, QB, that I have is Florida this year. You mentioned this just a minute ago with Buddy Martin. You know, they never lost to anybody outside the conference. You know what? Their record was 5-0 against AP-ranked top 5 teams this year. 5-0 against top 5 AP-ranked teams. 36-4. The guy won the championship in his 3rd year since coming from California. And Scott Strickland can now say he hired a national championship coach. And my goodness, the defense really came through, QB. I know they talk about the way Golden's offense really revamped this basketball program, and it did. It absolutely 1,000% did. But I got to say the defense came through when it had to, and the free throw shooting was clutch. Elijah Martin was just ice at the free throw line. So is Thomas Hawk in these games. And so you can say so many great things. You can have so many takeaways. You can look at it for so many different angles. But the one thing you end up with at the end was that as a 1 seed, the Gators beat the others. And they won this championship, the SEC championship, the SEC tournament championship, and now the NCAA championship. And that's amazing.
Daryl says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. I remember this. He says, as Corrine Brown said, that them Gators don't take no jive. Remember that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Them Gators don't take no drive.
Yeah, that was great.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Dan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon Law. This is for Ian Eagle and all the boys at the broadcast. The fans next to me were from Gainesville, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Orlando. I know some people that from Louisiana, from Denver, from California that went as Gator fans. So
they represented QB. They were everywhere in San Antonio before, during, and after.
I think San Antonio is the best venue.
You like it?
For.
Well, it's got a lot to offer. It's got a lot to offer. The Riverwalk is awesome. The restaurant scene is great. The Gator boosters show up. They rent out the restaurants. They pay the money. They came through. And, you know, when you think about, I keep harping on the defensive end of this game for Florida. Houston shot, I think, probably their worst percentage from the floor for the entire season in last night's game. It was 34.8% from the field. I think that's the worst they shot all year long. They had been a top-ranked 3-point shooting team for accuracy, but they were 6 of 25. 6 of 25. And they couldn't throw it in the Riverwalk there. So when you've got guys like Sharp, Milo, Suzan, and Cryer, those guys were, I think, 5 of 22. I wrote all these percentages down because I couldn't believe it from beyond the arc. And only Cryer, I think, had more than 1 3. So even if Sharp gets that shot off, even if he had head faked and Clayton went flying over his head, he wasn't going to make that shot, QB. The clock was going to run out. Sampson should have known the percentages were bad at 3-point. They should have taken the ball inside and tried to draw a foul or get a 3-point play or something like that. But I can see why.
I just knew if they drove to the basket, they were going to get a foul.
Absolutely, they're going to get a foul, QB. And, you know, that's where you just got to say, kid, you got to make these 2 free throws, buddy. But gosh, good for the Gators. And again, you know, Todd Golden came here. He came here as an offensive wizard. And that part of the game has been as good as advertised for the Florida Fighting Gators. But I'm telling you, last night and during this tournament, comebacks are done with defense, QB, because you got to stop the other team from extending their lead. And in this case, Florida was down, 8 against Auburn at halftime, down 11 against Houston this game. They were down against UConn. I don't know how many points in the first half in that game. Texas Tech had them very dead and gone. It was over with 4, 5, 6 minutes to go. They come back and they hit free throws. Thomas Hawk hits a 3. Walter Clayton does his circus act. And here are your national freaking champions, the Florida Fighting Gators. So, you know what, folks? Get to the store, buy all your Gator stuff, spend more money, do it, and be proud. I walked into Publix last night and yesterday before the game, and everybody was in their orange and blue. It felt like I was going to an LSU game in Baton Rouge. It was great because that's what we need to see here in Gainesville is people being proud and excited to wear these colors and walk around and raise hell like they used to back in the early 2000s when the football team was beating everybody and in the 90s when the football team was winning SEC championships. So I think this is exactly what Florida needed, and good for them. Good for them.
Yep. Text on the Titan Tomorrow text line.
Gator
Jonathan,
fans.
he says, Shane, you are a basketball savant. Do you have any predictions for the football team now?
Well, I heard somebody say, "Are you happy that is the football team happy that the Gator basketball?" Hell yeah, they're happy. Everybody roots for everybody else as coaches on that athletic department. Everybody does. When Tim Walton's trying to win a softball championship, you've got the football coach over there. When you've got a World Series, a College World Series, and the Gators are playing for a championship, you got the football. Well, you should have the football coach over there. So the point is that everybody roots for everybody, QB. Absolutely.
Yep, they do. Art on Facebook Live brought to you by Melon Law says, who do you think will come back next season? I have no idea.
Condon.
Look, here's I mean,
by the way, his point total over 8.5 was a winner. Thank you.
Yeah, he got a lot of looks right at the bucket. Had a lot of walking turnovers though that drove me nuts. But when you look at next year's team, okay, Denzel Aberdeen will be a senior. Does he come back? I hope he comes back, but there's still a good chance he may not come back. He could easily take an NIL from somebody else, right, JC?
That's how it works. It's
yeah. Can Condon go pro? Can Howitt go pro? Yes. Can Hanlockton, he probably will be back, but somebody could offer him some money somewhere. So in today's world, you don't know who's coming back. Todd will sign some high-dollar transfer portal guys.
He will.
And it's probably going to be some of those guys from like James Madison.
Butler, whatever.
Yeah. So I don't think anybody should question their talent evaluation because our starting main three guys, Belmont, FAU, and Iona. Okay. We'll leave it at that.
Well, and God, they all had such big roles to play too. And for Elijah Martin, when he got to the line, I just knew he was going to make the shots, QB. You know how you watch some guys shoot free throws like poor Hanlockton. I thought he was going to break the backboard when he threw the ball up there from the free throw line. And I know he's excited and the adrenaline's going. But when Martin gets up there on the free throw line, he's going. Are you
talking about before Martin?
Hanlockton.
Oh, he can't make a free throw.
Poor kid. I mean, he's breaking the glass. But then you got Martin on the other side of the coin there. And you just know he's going to make it. And Will Richard, when somebody needed some help in the first half last night, he had half the damn points. He had 14 points, and the Gators had 28 at halftime. Will Richard. I've always said he was one of my favorite players they have on this team. So I just think this is a team you could really get on board with and get very, very behind and root for hard because they're very likable guys. They acknowledged the crowds. They were walking out of the hotel yesterday on video, high-fiving all the fans that made the trip over there. That's what you like to see. You don't want to just see a bunch of statues walk by. You want to see some people with some emotion and some excitement, and that's what you got. They appreciate the fans going through the effort, the money, and the time. And guess what? Now you get a little bit of a price hike for next season, and that's okay because everybody's going to pay it to watch the national champions. And then during the football season in September, during one of those 7-minute timeouts on television, there's the Gator basketball team on the 25 line getting a standing ovation with their national championship. Okay. So, I mean, I got hell for doing it like this.
Yes, it's right over left, JC.
Okay, fine.
You went to school here, damn it.
I did. So,
at least you claim to have.
No, I did. 2 years, brother.
Everybody's on here talking about Martin being a football player playing basketball.
Shoot, he's got a touch. That guy's got a touch.
So hang on. My point to the moral to the story is play everything you can while you can. He did. Walter Clayton Jr. is a football player too. And I've discussed that on this program multiple times that makes them a better basketball player because they play football, in my opinion.
I always would tell my oldest son, who was the athletic one, to play as many sports as he can in high school. And so he played football and he played something else. I forgot.
Lacrosse, JC.
Lacrosse, that's right.
You don't even know what your kid played.
That's exactly right. He did. And so, but you want to have your kid play as much as he possibly can in the other sports as well. It helps with the development of everything. It makes them better, and it gets them in that athletic frame of mind and keeps them out of trouble. It is the best thing, I think, as a parent you can advise your kid, as a son or a daughter who wants to be an athlete or wants to play in sports, to do as many as you can in high school when you get there, if you can. I know studying is important, but if you can do it both, if you can do two sports, do it. That's all.
Lanny on Facebook Live says, brought to you by Mellon Law, did you see Walter Clayton consoling the Houston player?
Yeah, he's clutch.
Yeah, I think they probably grew up playing travel ball, is my guess, because the sharp kid is from Tampa. He's from Tampa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they probably good buddies, probably. So anyway,
well,
Gators are national champs, and boy, it's hard to go to sleep last night.
Yeah, and you want to just watch all of the at the end of the shows, the analysis shows. And Jay Billis made some great points about how when Houston got into foul trouble in the second half with 4 fouls to some of their big guys, it changed a lot of the things they were able to do. And Florida took advantage of that by pressing the paint, QB, and playing defense a little bit more aggressively. And Houston is a smaller team than Florida. They lose their 2 top tall guys to 4 fouls, and that really helped the Gators. And the way the game was called was very strange. When you had 4 total fouls called in the first half, and then you had over 20-something in the second, it did change the way it was played. It changed the way it was played, and I think to Florida's advantage. I think it was Florida's advantage there. But Houston turned the ball over something like 5 times in the last 3.5 minutes, and that gave Florida turned those 5 turnovers in the last 3.5 minutes into 6 points. And those were very crucial points, because it ended up being a 1-possession game, right? So that's how you win these close ones. You have to win the game under 5 minutes. Florida did that 4 times in this tournament. UConn, Texas Tech, Auburn, and now the Houston Cougars. And in terms of the state of Texas, since we were talking about San Antonio, do you realize that the state of Texas in the last 6 years, Houston, Texas Tech, Baylor, and TCU have all played for a national title in either football or basketball. But the Texas Longhorns haven't done it in 15 years, and the Texas A&M Aggies haven't done it in 85 years. So that just probably should tell you that maybe money doesn't buy championships, and this athletic situation in a state like that is very well spread out. But I found that to be amazing, that Houston, Baylor, TCU, and Texas Tech have all played for a championship in the last 6 years in either football or basketball, and neither Texas or Baylor have done it in 15 to 85 years.
Well, Texas football has been in the hunt, at least. They've been in the semifinals. But A&M hasn't been close.
Not even.
Florida Crackers, the brand for original Floridians, great food and southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida, FloridaCracker.com. Where is that? Oh, Zach says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, does Emmanuel Sharp want 1 season at UF? I don't know if he has any eligibility left, but he is that Elijah Martin type.
I have a lot of those guys too.
Being from Tampa,
yeah,
I'll take Sharp right now for next year on our program.
I would take any of the top 5 to 8 starters on Houston. How could you not? They're extremely athletic. They're very well coached. They play great defense, and they're good. They're good players. Yes, you would take them. And this team is snake bit. If you're a fan, I get it. 7 trips to the big dance, 7 zeros, and some just heartbreaking losses in their history. The NC State game, of course, this game now, and I'm sure there may have been another one. But it's been tough. It's been tough. And Kelvin Sampson, he'll be a Hall of Fame coach, but man, I don't know what that play was he was drawing up. I guess it was to try to win it with a 3, and Florida knew exactly what they were doing. It's almost like Florida had someone in the huddle and listened in on the final play and executed the defensive plan there to perfection. And that's, again, one of the reasons why you've got a national title here, a team here in Gainesville, is because of how they played defense here in this tournament specifically and in this game last night. And I just, you just got to, tip your cap to Houston. Congratulations on a great year. Tough way to lose. The thing about the big dance, QB, is that you got 68 teams or something like that, and only one ends up happy. Just one. So, I mean, some
Yeah.
teams can say, okay, well, we got to the Elite Eight. That's really exciting for our program, and we can build off it. That's true. But the idea is to win it, and there's only one that can do that. It's just like the College World Series, just like everything else. That's why we love these tournaments.
Yeah, for sure. Where's this thing I was going to read? Oh, Jeff says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, the Gators got to the rim in the second half. Too many badly missed threes in the first by both teams. Yeah. The reason we got to the rim is because they were giving it to us in the rim. They were saying, "Dare you to let your big guys try to score on our big guys?" They were not going to allow us to shoot threes. And there was no daylight to shoot threes at all.
Yeah, the only guy that made them was Will Richard, and Clayton had. If you had told me Walter Clayton wouldn't have scored his first field goal until the 30-minute mark of the game, I would have said the Gators lose big, and that was wrong. They didn't lose big. They played defense, and some other guys stepped up. And again, like I said, with 11, I think it was around the 11-minute mark when Clayton was subbed out. It was a 14-minute mark, and they were down 11, and that's when Aberdeen and Martin and Hawk came through, and they cut the deficit to 1 point in the final 2 minutes. It was just phenomenal. Now Clayton came back and did his part as well, but he was just another reason why they won. He wasn't the reason why they won. He was the reason why they won. Probably make the case for against Texas Tech and UConn for sure, but not necessarily in this Auburn game. In this Houston game. So we can talk about, this is going to be something we can talk about all summer long as we wait for football QB, a national champion. You can say, well, it's not basketball season. It's over now. They're national champion. You're going to go buy a bunch of stuff.
Andy wants to know, JC, are you happier about the Gators or the stock market bouncing back big today?
I
think the stock market, you just got to, you play the long game.
There you go. So no, this is a good day, folks. Last night,
I don't even know why people worry about it.
Well, because it's money,
I know that, but it's not like you're going to cash out.
No, we're not.
The other day anyway.
We do not sell.
It's the long game.
We buy in bear markets. That's how
I tell people, just don't even pay attention to it.
Well, I have to pay attention.
Well, I know you do. But I may just call you today and raise hell.
But I will say,
I want to be one of those clients.
I'm going to say, let's buy. You buy in the bear markets. That's how you get rich. My God, what's wrong with people? But I
want to be that guy because I play a lot of golf with my insurance boys, and they when they complain about the guy that complains about his policy going like $3, they raise hell. They're like, I'm gonna start being that guy just to complain, just to make y'all upset.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Well,
all right, JC.
I know.
Well, guess what? You're on tomorrow, and we're going to actually switch gears because it is tradition like no other.
The tradition like no other. I've got a lot of content.
You think Jim Nance is going to be worth the damn on the call this week? He's got to be miserable right now on his private plane headed to Augusta.
Oh, that poor guy. I'm just so glad he told us that he was going to retire in 2036. I needed that 10-year notice. So, Jim's going to be there. The only thing I'm thinking about with the Masters QB is hoping that the weather holds up.
I've already looked. It's going to be beautiful the rest of the week.
Okay, so if we don't get any rain, that will hopefully keep these greens hard and fast because that is the only defense this course has. They have wide fairways and zero rough. They will light that place up if the greens are soft. We need fast, hard, nasty greens to putt on to keep the course somewhat defensible. That's all we can do.
All right, JC, we'll see you tomorrow. Right, and Walter Clayton likes to say, Gator, go Gator.
When he wanted to see his mama last night, I laughed for a minute and a half. He says, I can't wait to see my mama. He said that after.
Yeah.
God bless you. All right. Well, Gator fans,
that's JC. Join us on the Tag No More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. The Pouncey Twins provide all of Gator Nation with the highest quality liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorite flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Our winner again, he's already contacted us on we'll get your stuff out probably next week. We got a lot going on. Awesome. Who did I say it was? I got it right here. Russell. Our man Russell.
All right.
So congratulations to Russell.
Way to go, Russell.
You have your address. So we'll see you tomorrow, folks. Enjoy the day. Hopefully you don't have to go to work. Take care.